Welcome to My Otome, where we talk about Japanese dating simulations and visual novels. I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Tiana, and today we're gonna go into Ota's sequel. Um, yeah,
Oh no.
yeah. So like the sequel starts off with Ota having nightmares about like you leaving him.
Mm,
Yeah, great.
how
And
nice.
then like he also gets mad because you have a habit of calling him Mr. Kiseki, which is which is his name. That's his last name.
Hmm.
But I mean, you call him that because of work,
Yeah.
so he gets upset about it. Um, Wow, this this jumped really quickly in my notes. But Kobayama is stalking again. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know the reporter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I completely forgot.
yeah, he's stalking, but he's not stalking you this time. You guys just see him as he's stalking somebody else. Yeah, and then like, so you're trying to hide and run from him because you're like, oh my god, what if he sees us together? And Elta's like, I don't care. Technically, we already went public.
He's not wrong.
Technically, we already did. So why do you have a problem with it?
Hmm.
And then like afterwards, this the sequel moves pretty quickly, but then it starts slowing down. But like afterwards, Oda gets a call for the Olympics. He gets to, work on the opening ceremony.
Ooh. Why do
Oh
they
wait,
want?
not he did work on the Olympics before, but he's later on he's gonna get a call again to work on the Olympics again.
Why do they want an
I just
artist to work on the Olympics?
because Ota also has like he also works on like different like interior designs because like throughout the current sequel story he's working on designing a garden,
Hmm. Okay. That.
so
Okay.
he's like very versatile in his work.
Okay. That makes sense.
It explained why he's rich too, because I'm just like, you're just an artist and you're that rich.
Yeah, it makes sense that he's making money elsewhere.
I mean, I guess he could be that rich because if you've been painting since 14 and you've been popular since you were 14, but at the same time most artists don't get popular until they're dead.
True.
You also find out that Ota is fond of cherry blossom trees because the one he painted when he was a child with his mentor, and like he painted it yellow, painted all the leaves yellow, I think. I'm not
Hmm.
sure, but he did it in elementary school. And so while he was like working on the garden for his client was like, "Hey, cherry blossom trees remind me of the incident, but I still trust you."
Hmm.
You know, the plagiarism incident.
Yeah. Oh dear.
And then Ota's like, okay. And
Hmm.
then like the client's like, oh, I don't believe your mentor meant that much bad. And Ota's like, I have no mentor. My mentor does not exist.
Slay.
And then like the auctions get brought up again. The auctions doesn't get brought up, but you start thinking about the auctions because of the like encounter, and then you're trying to act like you're so holy, and you're like, oh, the auction sells counterfeits and stolen goods, and Osa participates in this, and what if he loses his job? What if what if it affects his livelihood and his reputation as an artist?
If it hasn't yet, it's not going to.
Exactly. Like he's been doing this longer than y'all have been in a relationship. And if essentially you just don't want him doing the auctions anymore because you hate it. You hate the auctions, so
Hmm.
you're like, oh, I'm not gonna have him do the auctions anymore.
Girl, he treats you like you're his pet. How do you think you're gonna make him stop doing the auctions?
That's what I'm sitting here like. I'm just like, huh?
Makes no sense.
Up until recently, you were a pet.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're trying to tell him, I don't want you doing these auctions anymore. The auctions are the only reason you two met. Well,
Mm-hmm.
actually got to know each other. So then in part two, ooh, I'm sweaty. Part two, you're gossiping about Ota because,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at work, you're popular because you're dating him. And then basically, Oda comes in, he's like, let's go. Let's dip out. You don't want to go because you have to work an afternoon shift. Because work over, you know, being told to leave, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be me? Could never be me. I'd have been like, deuces, bye.
That's fair.
Um, and then Erica's like, what are you doing? Why are you telling him no? When a VIP guest asks you to do something, you go do something. Did you forget the
Mm-hmm.
hotel rules?
Did you forget you worked here?
So of course you end up having to go along with Ota, and basically he just takes you to the studio and pretends to have you model for him for hours.
Hmm.
Yeah, he makes you do a whole bunch of stupid poses while he just draws a very badly drawn dog.
Dang. That speaks to how he sees you. That bird in the cage meant nothing.
And he tells you, how did you not notice, like, what I kept having you do these stupid poses that I wasn't actually drawing you?
Dang.
So you also learn that Oda likes to avoid drawing cherry blossoms. Oh god damn it, that's loud. Yeah. He avoids drawing cherry blossoms but uses a lot of flower motifs
Mm-hmm.
because you know the past. So he hates drawing blossoms.
Mm-hmm.
And then y'all fuck.
Dang.
Yeah.
Slay. Get that disco
And
stick, I
then
guess.
afterwards, Oda tells you about how like he usually sells his paintings, but he wants to keep the birdcage painting forever because he loves it,
Aww.
and he loves you. Ah.
Aww.
And in that same conversation, you're like, I want you to quit the auctions.
Girl. Be so for real right now.
And then he's like, oh, since you asked, I'll consider it.
What?
Yeah. He
He's
takes
too
your
deep in that to consider it.
he takes your feelings into account. And then not only
Is he
that,
drunk or
you're like,
something?
oh, he agreed too quickly. I thought I would have to convince him.
That's not a red flag.
I thought he agreed immediately, and now I'm so happy. But I thought I would have to convince him, have to have a plan on how to get him to quit the auctions. And that was where my red flags lied. I was like, you're the red flag here.
Exactly. The fact that you prepped for every possible way to convince this man to stop.
And I'm like, he's a rich man. His
Mm-hmm.
reputation is not going to be that ruined.
He can pay people to shut up.
I don't know why he hasn't done that before. He has rich friends.
He probably doesn't want to waste money.
I mean, Isaac's right there.
True. True.
And then, if he really needed to get rid of somebody, Soru's right there too.
Exactly.
This man has just like ample options, and you're over here like, ha 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 ha. He's just going to lose his whole livelihood.
Nah. He has backup plans. And backup plans to his backup plans.
So, of course, the next day, Oda goes and tells everyone he doesn't want to be an auction sponsor anymore because he's bored.
Didn't he join them because he was bored? That's not a good
Yeah.
excuse.
That's what he tells everybody, but everybody knows it's because of you that
Yeah.
he's leaving.
I would have called his bluff. I would have been like, boy, you started with these because you were bored. There's no way for you to get bored of them.
Of course, everybody else is upset, and then, like, you realize that if Ota leaves, it affects the other 4 people who are involved in the auctions.
So
But
you
you don't
thought of
really
so you
but you
thought of
don't really care.
you thought of every possible way to convince your man to stop going to these auctions, but didn't think that it would affect his closest friends who are all a part of the auction. I don't understand.
No, because, like, in your head, you're like, oh, it's gonna be hard for them. But who cares? It'll be hard for him to up and leave, but they'll get by.
Okay.
And I'm just sitting here like, this is for someone who has a whole sequel story about how your job isn't taken seriously. This is some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and you kind of just like, yay, he's leaving. Isaac lets him leave. Baba's sad because he's leaving, and you're throwing a party in your head.
Mm.
You're behind Oda's back, just like dancing.
Dancing?
Not for real, but in your head, you're just like, yes, he's gone. He's leaving.
Oh.
Deuces. And
I was like, what?
I get so mad because I'm like, if I was one of the other 4, I would be pissed off at you. I'd make
Mm-hmm.
your life a living hell.
I'd suddenly make you run every single errand I want. Because you
But
do work
then,
for them.
I mean, true, you do. And then Oda sees the because they still show him the auction list because they love the dude.
Yeah.
They show him the auction list, and Oda sees something that bothers him, but he doesn't really say anything. He just kind of dips. So you
Okay.
follow him because you want to help out your boyfriend. He gets upset at you, calls you Kuro, and then tells you to leave. And then he goes
Dang.
home himself
Dang. You really messed up.
because you wanted to talk to him.
Mm.
And then episode 3 was you go to Ota's room to like have a little talk it out, and he's having another nightmare. He wakes up, apologizes, and then he's like the best boyfriend ever for like the first time in years. Not
Dang.
years because you haven't even been dating. Yay!
Well then.
What was that? Why is it speaking Japanese to me? That's Obey Me!
Oh my gosh.
I got no baby notification.
Well then. I mean, I guess it's
Good.
fitting for what we're talking about, but.
Yeah, so, I mean, Oda tells you about his dreams again. They're all about him. They're all about you betraying him and leaving him.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, you thought it was a joke when he mentioned it before.
He comes to you saying, hey, I've got this genuine fear that you're gonna leave me. And you're like, ah! Okay. You're so funny.
I don't understand the logic. You're seeing why I hate this this sequel, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're only on episode 3 of the sequel. And then Ota's like, I should have apologized to you for telling you to leave last night, and that I should have slept with you. Because that fixes everything.
Yeah. Man is over here like, you know what? You know what would have made you really happy with me?
So then you end up promising never to betray Ota, and like, I don't think you should ever promise that because your character's stupid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then Oda jokes about calling you Koro again, and then he takes you out on a date.
Okay.
And before you go out on the date, you see the auction list on the nightstand, and it's open to like a cherry blossom painting. you're upset because he still has the auction list,
You don't
but you
think
don't
that
say anything
he
about it.
told you? Hold on, did it? Hold on. He opened up to you about an issue he has with cherry blossoms and cherry blossom paintings and how it's super sentimental to him. You see that it's open on that page for a cherry blossom painting, and your first thought is, why does he have this? Why is he looking at the auction list?
Yeah.
Put two and two together.
Also, the painting's made by this man named Doi, which, that's important.
Okay.
So, you guys go off to Ota's school because you want to go see the tree that he painted.
Mm-hmm.
And the tree that was there was planted by an alumni, and you find out at the school that they removed the tree and that's gone. When they
Dang.
renovated they renovated the school grounds, so they just uprooted the tree and was like, deuces.
Oh my gosh.
And then you find out that Ota cherishes that tree because he's like, that was like one of my first creations, my masterpiece, and that his mentor had saw his talent when he did that. And then he also called his mentor dangerous.
Does he have abandonment? Like, was he abandoned as a child? I feel like his parents just up and left him because he's too attached to this mentor while still saying, like, he's a terrible person. I hate him. He's dangerous, but he noticed me.
Never gotten to a point where like his parents have been mentioned.
Mm.
Even Isaac and Sora mention their parents.
Yeah. I don't know then. Because, like, it's really giving I've got mommy and daddy issues.
And then you try to ask about his teacher's work because you're like, oh, what is he doing nowadays? And then Elta's like, bitch, remember we're no contact.
Mm-hmm.
I don't talk to that man.
Mm-hmm.
And then he leaves. He's like, let's go.
Dang. Okay.
You feel like he brushed you off on that subject, even though you know he does not like that subject in the first place.
Okay.
Like, I'm confused on what you thought his response would be when you asked about his teacher, when he's not
Exactly.
reminiscing.
He's not reminiscing. He's literally sitting there being like, dang. Okay. And like opening up to you about it, and then you're like, I'm gonna ruin this. And then get
Tell me
mad.
more about him. So after you guys go back to the hotel, Ota's like, hey, everybody. Remember how I said I didn't want to be a part of the auctions? Let me be a part of this one.
Dang. Slay.
You get upset, and you're like, I verbatim quoted this. I thought he was going to stop for me. You told me you would quit for me. Those are the thoughts that were going through your head.
Girl, I'm sorry, but your coochie ain't that good.
And then, so, of course, you're not saying anything. You're too shocked to actually, comprehend everything that's going on, even though you're pissed off. Isaac's teasing Ota for leaving. And he's like, ha ha ha, I guess you're not on such a short lease anyway, like you thought you were. And
Mm.
then put Ota straight on the appraisals and was like, let's go, let's do it. So you and Isaac and Ota kind of deuce out. And you're just left with Mamoru, our a great detective.
Hmm.
He's a lovely detective. So
Okay.
then you're like, hey, Mamoru, do you know what's going on? Do you know why he's joining the auctions after I told him no? So basically, Mamoru's like, I know why, but I'm not going to tell you. I don't really care to tell you. He just kind of picks up the newspaper, gives you yes or no answers as he reads, and then he starts talking about a different plagiarism scandal with an artist and his assistant. And you're dumb, so you don't realize that's a hint.
Yeah, I was about to say it's kind of like on the nose.
Yeah, you don't understand that's a hint.
Everything is like right there for her.
And
It's
then
like
Mamoru is even like, this is just like Ota scandal.
can we just boycott the MC at this point because she needs to go.
And then Mamoru has to literally tell you that his mentor's name is Doi for
Uh,
you to connect the dots.
it took that long.
And that the name was like, that sounds familiar. It sounds like his mentor's name.
I would lose my mind. I would
And
lose
then
my.
he leaves. He leaves. You look at the newspaper. There's no scandal. There's no plagiarism scandal in the newspaper.
So he knew you were dumb.
Yeah, man knew this whole time that you would never figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So then, episode 4, you're still curious about Ota wanting to participate in the auctions, even though, I mean, it's been spelled out for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's right there.
Considering considering that's his mentor's painting in the auction. But you're still curious and you don't understand why he wants to be a part of the auction.
Okay.
Yeah. So you call Ota one night at home and you ask him about the piece as soon as he picks up the phone. No hi, no hello. Just, hey, you know this piece that's being auctioned off? Tell me about it.
Dang. So you're sitting
Yeah.
there and you're like,
Yeah.
this is a really sensitive subject. And I know I shouldn't press on this because it really upsets him. And he went against saying he wasn't going to be a part of the auctions for this piece alone. I'm going to bother him about it. Not even going to say, hey, how's your day going? Something you would say to a partner.
Yeah. Oda tells you to leave it alone. You're like, no, because you're bottling things up. So he hangs up on you.
As he should.
I mean, I would hang up on you too.
Exactly.
So then you go to Baba for advice because that makes sense.
Totally.
I mean, like you definitely go to advice for another. You go to another man for advice on your boyfriend's past, which Baba has only known him for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. You also tell Baba everything about what was going on. And Baba's like, I can't help you.
Because he
Ota
can.
doesn't tell us about his feelings. You're the only one he talks to about his feelings. We don't even know what the real Ota is like.
Mm-hmm.
So you end up being like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to Kubayama about it.
You're just. Okay.
Yeah. But you also go talk to Kubayama because you want to be Ota's strength. Yeah. This storyline is just everybody wants to Jesus.
Everybody wants our attention.
I already know that one's for my WeChat, so it's people in China, so yeah. But yeah, you want to be his strength. This whole sequel is just full of icks.
Yeah. I'm not here for it.
No. So, of course, you being the dummy that you are, you decide to go meet Kubayama at a hotel.
At a random hotel. Okay.
Yes. So, you find out that Doi vanished from the art world after, the scandal. And you also find out that Doi has been in and out of the hospital and that at this point he's only seen by relatives now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like in bad condition. And after you find all that out, you're like, thanks, Kubayama. You're such a great person. And Kubayama's like, what you got for me? as reporters would do.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what do you mean? What do I have for you? Because you thought you were getting the information for free, that Kubayama was just doing it out of the goodness of his heart. And Kubayama wants dirt on Ota. You know nothing. And you're screaming, I know nothing about this man. I know nothing. Because you're dumb. You couldn't just make up some shit.
Exactly. There's no reason to scream.
So then you get pushed up against the wall, called out for thinking that you're just gonna get this information to get for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, what do you want me to pay you with?
That's not the question you ask.
And of course, Kubayama wants you to prostitute yourself out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I knew that was coming.
Because, and you're also in the hotel. He locked the doors when y'all went in to the hotel room, by the way.
And that wasn't a red flag?
I guess not.
She must be colorblind.
It was not enough of a red flag for her.
Apparently.
And then, attempted sexual assault. But Ota saves you. He comes and saves you.
Yay!
Yay! So after you guys leave, Ota's mad at you for doing this stupid shit.
Reasonable.
And you say, I just wanted to know more about you.
Then ask him!
That was your reasoning. And then you're like, oh no, Ota's mad at me. I was being selfish and worrying him. That was your problem. Not the attempted sexual assault. You're just upset that you worried Ota.
Why? That's the only question I have. Just why?
I don't know. I don't know at all. You find out that Baba was the one who told Ota that you were going to see Kubayama, even though Baba's also the one who encouraged you to go.
Mm-hmm.
But, Baba's just gonna let you do whatever. He's going to give you advice, but he's just going to let you do whatever the hell you want. He's not exactly that figure that's gonna be like, no, don't do it.
That makes sense.
You still end up telling Ota about how Doi was hospitalized. And then Ota is shocked at first, but then he gets mad at you because he's like, oh, so you did all of this to find out about that man?
I mean, I'd be mad too.
The man I told you I do not care for? The man I told you I never want to see again? You did all this so you could find out about him?
Mm.
And then, of course, you have to be holy, Miss Holy, and you're like, if he dies, you'll never see him again.
That's the point! Okay.
And then you decide that you're going to be his therapist now, too. So you tell Ota that he's still hurt because he never got to have a resolution with his mentor, and that's why he's still having the nightmares. You also tell him to talk to Doi, and then Ota's like, I don't want to hear his excuses. I don't want to hear him tell me why he stole my artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And then said I plagiarized him.
Reasonably so.
And then you're like, but Doi must regret what he did. Ota's like, it's too late. It's too late. And then you're like, let's go find out how he truly feels, though. And of course, because Ota wants you to shut up about this, because you're just doing too much, because you will not stop.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have no personal boundaries, and you don't understand that no means no. Unless it's happening to you.
Of course.
So then you guys go to go find Mr. Doi, which you go to the hospital, find out he's not in the hospital anymore, And then you go to his house. Man is dying.
Yay.
Man is like straight up dying. Oto Oto was like, I came here to cuss you out, but I can't even be upset because you're dying.
Yeah.
I can't even cuss you out because you're sitting here like laid up in bed about to die. So then you comfort Ota, and it's all sadness and horrible. Like, I'm supposed to feel bad for this man, even though, he ruined your life for 4 years. Oh. So then episode 5 comes around. Mrs. Doi, his wife, gives Ota a letter that her husband had wrote, where Mr. Doi apologizes in the letter, and he says that he regrets.
Then why didn't he say no?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
You want Ota to forgive the dude.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, just because he's dying doesn't mean he deserves forgiveness.
You're on the crusade to make Ota forgive the dude.
It's giving
Now,
white savior.
it really is. The thing is, you're not white. That's the thing in the game, you're not white.
That's the only saving grace with this woman, is that she's not white, so she can't be called a white savior.
You're not a white savior, but you sure do feel like one.
Exactly.
Because Ota is not in need of saving. He is perfectly fine with his life. He's not the one dying over here.
Mm-hmm.
That was very rude, but
Still.
Mrs. Doi starts crying about how she sold most of her husband's work for treatment money. And I'm like, this is sad, but not sad enough for me to care.
Yep. Especially after what he did, and didn't, even though he felt guilty right away, didn't do anything about it.
Exactly. And then you guys kind of figure out that the art collector scammed the Doys and is selling Mr. Doy's paintings on the black market. And that's why his cherry blossom painting is being sold at the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. Because the art collector told Mrs. Doy that he was going to put all the paintings up in an art museum.
Dang.
I feel bad for Mr. Doy's wife, but I don't feel bad for the man.
Mm-hmm.
You also find out the cherry blossom tree that was at the school is in Mr. Doy's backyard.
Oh.
Because he never stopped thinking about Ota. And
Wait, why
wanted
does he get to keep the tree? Why didn't they put it somewhere where everyone can admire the tree?
I don't know. But he bought the tree because he wanted to cherish Ocha's first project. All of this is supposed to make me feel bad for the dude and make me think that he's like a great person, but at the same time, I'm just sitting here like, you ruined this man's life.
Exactly.
You got him dropped from the Olympics the first time.
Dang!
Yeah. The plagiarism scandal got him dropped from the Olympics the first time around.
No, that's messed up.
Oh. And then you're mentally boasting about being right about Mr. Doi in your head. Because you're like, I knew he regretted it. I knew it. I was right. But
Do you
Ota's over here.
just not love your boyfriend? Because that's what I'm getting at.
And the thing is, Ota's over here. Ota's at the tree crying. And you're just here like, oh my god. This is so weird. Why is he crying?
You see your boyfriend crying over a very emotional subject for him. And you're just like, told you so.
And then you start crying because you're like, oh my god, I'm so emotional.
This woman was written by a man.
Yeah. You're just like, oh my god, I'm so emotional. I'm crying with you. I want to cry with you. Of course, I did pick the choice of crying with him instead of like standing there and watching him.
That was the other option?
Yeah, that was one of the other options. It was like, do nothing pat him on the back or cry with him.
This man is dealing with a very emotional topic, and you're just like, there, buddy. Let me pat you on
Yeah,
the back.
because the comforting him choice was like, I already know this is going to not be a good comfort because you say that you're because once you say that you're bewildered by seeing your boyfriend crying, I already know you're comforting him isn't going to be the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm. I can just imagine she's patting his back, and she's like, I know this is, like, rough for you, I guess, but, like, I told you so.
So then Ota tells you more about his backstory, and then he's like, oh, my teacher didn't really teach me anything. He was more of like a go-between for me in like the art world, and that seeing Mr. Doi as he is like dying right now made him forgive the man, which
Why?
Ota's too nice for me. Ota has a bigger heart than I would. I'd have been
Oh,
like,
yeah.
deuces.
I'd be like, dang, that must suck. Couldn't be me. Anyways, can we go now? Can we
And
leave?
then Ota tells you that he's gonna do the auctions to get Doy's paintings back and asks you permission to participate, even though he was gonna participate anyways. And of course, you give him permission because you're like, you finally have a purpose now.
What? Okay.
This relationship is messed up. Okay.
Hilton needs to leave her and come to me because what is going on? What is going on?
So episode 6, mind you, the sequel only has 8 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So we made it past the halfway point.
Okay.
Yeah. So as you're leaving Mrs. Doy's house, Kubayama was hiding behind a telephone pole, waiting for y'all.
Dang. Man was mad he couldn't get that magical coochie, I guess.
And then I said, I hate me. Well, I hate MC because you're like, oh my god, I hope he isn't here to be mean to me again.
He tried to okay.
Yeah. So you find out Kubayama was eavesdropping. And then Kubayama starts asking questions like, are you going to inherit Joy's art since he has no kids? And implies that Ota could. And
So okay.
basically, Kubayama knows the truth, knows that Ota was the one who got plagiarized. And then he's just kind of egging Ota on to plagiarize his dying teacher.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
This is a story we're telling.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Then Ota nearly beats Kubayama's ass. But you stop him.
Why?
Because you stop him because you don't want a bad article written about Ota.
Let it be written. He deserves to get his butt beat, okay? Like I'm done with him. He needs to be in jail.
So y'all go back to the lounge, and Mamoru sees you guys, and he's like, oh, did y'all break up? This man's wishing on y'all's relationship downfall.
Yeah, he's preying on their downfall. He's over here like, yo, shorty.
Y'all
He's
breaking
the
up
type
yet?
of yeah, he's the type of guy to be like, yo, where my hug at?
He's too lazy to do that.
Fair.
That
Fair.
requires him to get up off the couch. So then, Ota tells everybody about the auction and asks us to rejoin the group. And, of course they let him come back. They love that man.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, they're like, yeah, we also really wanted you to come back because, Baba was insecure about his sight unseeing on if these paintings were real or not.
Mm.
That's what we really need you for.
Wait a minute. He didn't have a purpose before. He was the one authenticizing everything.
Yeah.
But that wasn't a good enough purpose, I guess.
I guess not.
Jeez, okay. You have a purpose now. He always had a purpose.
You just didn't like his last purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So then, you guys also talk about how Doi quit painting like right after the cherry blossom tree incident in that painting, so that's why the picture's price is so high.
Mm.
Like it went for $3 billion.
Dang.
Yeah, that was like the first bid.
Okay. You go, dude, I
So then
guess.
you're also the next morning you're watching the news. The news
Props for
comes on
dying.
and you find out Kubayama told the news that Ota's gonna tell the truth about the scandal while his mentor is on his deathbed.
Okay. And let me guess, you're over here like, oh my gosh, I need to save his reputation.
Yeah, you are. So
Figured.
then you go meet up with Ota, and Ota's like, I just gotta ask Sora to just kill the man. Ota's really like, just like, I want to ask Sora to just get rid of him.
Yeah. Make him permanently not a problem for us.
Yeah, Ota's a real one. Ota's like, this man gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Ota didn't get better because of you, he probably would have had him killed, and we all would have been better off for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then auction day comes around and the media swarms Ota at the hotel, and like so he gets stopped at the he gets stopped in the lobby, and it goes to episode 7. So as you're staring at Ota getting swarmed by a group of reporters, you get you get grabbed on the shoulder. You turn around and you see Ota. You start freaking out because Ota is here, but Ota's over there. And then the lights suddenly go off, and the two Otas are in front of you. One's holding your hand. Of course, the other Ota gets mad, and then the other Ota's like, Baba, you can let go of her hand now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Baba's in a disguise to look exactly like Ota.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know how he gets his hand
Dang.
on something like that, but
I don't know.
yeah.
Jeez.
So Ota's in scary Ota mode, and I'm just here like, obviously that one is Baba because he has his arm around you, he's holding your hand in public like that.
Mm-hmm.
PTA. I mean, not PTA, but PDA.
PDA. PTA, yes. The parent teacher. I'm here for it. Go, parent teachers.
You also find out that Baba did the face thing on his own. Ota didn't have to ask him to do it, and then the person who cut the power was Isaac, and that none of them were asked to do any of this for him. They just did it because
Because they're his friends. You go,
yes,
boo.
they're his friends, but they will never call each other friends.
Mm-hmm.
Two friends sitting in a hot tub 6 feet apart because we're not gay. So Ota's also pissed at you because you got fooled. And then he's like, I would have never mistaken you for a lookalike. And then admits that he's jealous because he was like, I just didn't like you holding another dude's hand. And you're
Reasonably so.
flabbergasted. You're flabbergasted that he could ever be jealous.
Wasn't he jealous before?
Yes.
Well, especially of situations with Baba.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! How could he ever be jealous? Not Ota. No.
Honestly, y'all just need to break up. Y'all don't need to be in this relationship.
For real.
Because you're too dumb for this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So the painting gets sold for $10 million. Half the price of you. Oh my god.
At least you were more expensive than a painting.
Yeah. I mean, the painting's priceless, but still. So a few days later comes around, and you're like looking at the painting, And Ota's like, oh, so I got these rough sketches because the first painting is a part of like this series of paintings called Four Seasons. And he says that he's going to finish the paintings and make it like a, and say it's a collaboration for Mr.
Oh,
Doi because he says he wants to like finish the paintings for him before he dies.
he's too
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Let the
And
man
like
die alone.
and while he's like finishing up the paintings, they get a phone call from Mrs. Doi. And then here's a happy ending. So after you get the phone call, you go to Mrs. Doy's house, and Ota shows Mr. Doi the paintings, and he's like proud of him, and then he dies. Yeah, I think he
Mm.
dies holding Ota's hands. I can't remember. I think I just every time I read the sequel, I think I just block it out of my mind.
I understand why.
So
Because
after he
when
dies, he goes outside and looks at the cherry blossoms and kind of carves your name into the cherry blossom tree too.
oh, she doesn't deserve him.
Because you are the reason he reunited with his teacher.
I cannot. I cannot. Okay.
It's such a sweet gesture, but when you're like you're in the mind of the character and know how it all went down, you're like it's not that
Yeah.
sweet.
Because like from an I can see like if it were from his perspective, it would be like, she was actually looking out for me. She cared about me enough to know like I needed to heal from this. And meanwhile, she's over here like, I told you so. He's a good person. You were just being
Exactly.
a meanie bobini.
You were just being stubborn.
Yeah. You were just being a loser.
So then Ota decides that his purpose in the auctions is to protect art because he wants to
Okay.
protect all the art that's like been stolen or stuff and stuff like that, and make sure that they're like good.
Mm-hmm.
And then you gotta give in your 2 cents about not liking the auctions. But if he's not doing anything bad, it's okay.
Girl. Okay.
But in that same breath, you're also like, the auctions aren't that bad.
You were sold at the auction.
The auctions are not that bad, but if you're not doing anything terrible, girl, he's still a part of the auctions.
He's still a part of human trafficking.
I mean, technically, he's
Consensual human.
not. Technically, he's not a part of the human trafficking because they didn't know you were being sold.
Yeah. That's why I was like adjusting it, because like technically it's consensual human trafficking when there is human trafficking outside of your situation.
Because I do know someone does get sold in like it was another one part, another, I think it was Isaac's storyline.
Uh,
Somebody else gets sold,
mm,
and you get mad at Isaac for it, but he's like, you don't need to know everything. This is none of your business. Leave us alone.
dang, go Isaac.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're aware that the auctions aren't all bad, even though you're still like, I don't like them. I still don't want you to participate, but I'll allow you to do it.
Okay, I, I, I can't with this girl. I can't with this girl.
Do you think I can?
No, I'm surprised you made it this far.
I made it this far because we had to make this video.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not this
That
video, but this recording.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So then you hug Ota, and then you tell him that what he tells you he's never gonna let you go again. It's super sweet. You get you get the CGI pictures,
Hmm.
and then you kiss under the cherry blossoms.
Oh,
And
how
then,
sweet.
yeah, I mean, it's sweet for everybody who thinks like MC, and I mean, I'm not going to say everybody who doesn't have brain cells, but you need to turn your brain off for this.
Yeah. You need to disconnect.
Yeah. And I get too connected to these characters for a disconnect to happen.
Yeah, I understand.
So then Elta tells Mrs. Doy that he's going to like plant all of Mr. Doy's favorite seasonal plants throughout the year and maintain the garden to go along with the Four Seasons paintings that he made.
Okay.
Because he just wants to like still stay in her life and be there for her. Because the woman's only 60 years old. I'm confused on the ages here though, but how is
Mm-hmm.
her husband like over here dying?
Maybe he's got like cancer. Do you think he's bald? That's not the question to ask. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I'm going to hell.
So then Ota tells you that you're the source of all his ideas.
She doesn't deserve him. You're the source of all my ideas.
Then y'all fuck. Of course.
He's horny when he's emotional.
Yeah, he loves
gets,
you.
he gets sentimental and then it's boom, bone time.
And then this is where he gets the job for, producing the opening ceremony for the Olympics. Yeah. I just got it mixed up. He's super excited about it. And then and then for the good ending, when you go like to Mr. Doy's house, instead of complimenting Ota, Mr. Doy tells him that his paintings are still impulsive, and then he dies. Your paintings are still
I prefer
impulsive.
that ending. I prefer, personally.
And then he also died like right before he dies too. He's like, I got to see you again. I can die now.
How sweet. How so so sweet.
So then you guys leave. Instead of like staying there and him carving your name, you guys just go back to the lounge and tell everybody else about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ota thanks Isaac and Baba for their help. And you guys find out how Baba distracted the media. And Baba distracted the media by riding a unicycle with spinning plates.
What?
And Ota's excuse was, he's a genius. I thought he could do everything.
Thought he could do everything.
And it was put in the newspaper as Ota's amazing tricks. So Ota strangles Baba.
Reasonably so.
Because Ota's like, this is the reason why I've been getting strange jobs lately.
Okay.
Do you understand how hard I worked for my reputation of being the angelic artist and now I'm the clown? And then you start laughing. And of course, Ota gets... That was a mic.
Oh no.
Damn. Ota gets mad at you for laughing. Tonight is just... It's workout.
Apparently.
You get dragged back to the room. And then you get called Kuro again, and you get called a bad pet for being rude to him.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, and then you fuck.
You've been a bad doggy. And your arms are tied with a necktie.
Oh.
He tickles you. Tickles you, calls you a good girl, and then punishes you anyways. After hugging you. And that's how that ends.
That's whiplash right there. That's okay.
Yeah. So, the epilogue is the one where where the description says that you're gonna get fired, but you don't get fired, you get demoted. This was clickbait. I get so happy whenever you leave your job. I love all the storylines where you just like dip out of your job and like, I'm leaving. And then he comes back and finds you. Those are my favorite. Because it proves that you really want me.
When you chase after me.
My favorite one happens to be in Scandal in the Spotlight, where you're dating like a pop star. Great. I only like 2 storylines from them, and the rest I do not remember. They only have 5 seasons.
Dang.
But yeah, so epilogue 1, it starts off with Oto wanting to play Pet and Master.
Of course.
Yeah. He's like, we haven't played Pet and Master in a while. Really, it's just him doing your hair. He just wants to do your hair.
He could have just said that, but okay.
But you're like thinking about something else. You're thinking about Ocha going to the Olympics, and like, what are you gonna do? And then Ocha knows you're distracted, and he's like, I want you only to think about me. And you kind of know where that leads to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You fuck.
Mm-hmm. He really likes that.
I mean, he is the
Good for
youngest
him.
out of the group.
It makes sense why he's extra horny then.
He is the 24-year-old, and then the second youngest is 28. And that's Sora. Are we going in order of who's oldest to young? Actually, no, that's going to get ruined because I did Baba before I did Mamoru. And Baba's the oldest.
I don't know.
With Baba being 35 and Mamoru being 32.
Gosh, I forgot that was their ages.
I was a man child. That's what he is. So then the next morning, Ota is practicing feeding you. Because you don't look cute enough when he tried to feed you the first time.
So he has to train you on how to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's...
He's loving it because he says it feels naughty to him.
What? You know, I was on this man's side like 5 seconds ago, but I forgot about this little detail. What?
You forgot it's Ota.
Yeah, I forgot it was him. You know, his personality. I can't even say his personality because this is part of it.
Yeah. So then you guys talk about the Olympics, and you realize that Ota's going to have to be gone for 3 years working on the Olympics.
Dang.
Yeah. It makes no sense to me why he would need to be there for 3 years, but...
Neither do I, but you know, slay, I guess.
And then he's like, what do you mean, you being alone? You're coming with me.
So, then what's the problem?
Yeah. Of course, you're not questioning that because, you know, you never question anything he says, even though you don't agree with what he says, until it becomes a problem. Like, Ota says some stuff, and then you just don't question what he says until it actually gets enacted.
Mm-hmm.
You just think it's a joke all the time, and I'm just here like, this man is not joking.
It's definitely not a joke. No one's laughing.
So when you go to work, Erica's suddenly like, I'm gonna check if you're doing your job correctly. You got this job, you've been working in the penthouse for a while now. Time to do inspections. And you're like, why are you trying to do inspections all of a sudden? She's like, I'm just doing it. You go up to clean the penthouse, and you're cleaning Ocha's room. And Ocha's like, let's go. Let's stop working. Right now, we're going to go see Mrs. Joy because she wants to go see us. And you're like, no, Ocha, I'm working. Of course, he gets upset because he's like, we don't spend enough time together anymore. We never hang out. Even though you work at the hotel, you literally live in the dorms, but...
You work at the hotel, you live in the dorms, you basically work for him.
I'm just trying to figure out how you never have enough time. How are you guys in this relationship, but you never see him?
How are you guys screwing so much, but you never see him? That's my question. Is it like via Zoom or something? Because I'm not.
And then you call him a disruption.
Oh,
So he's like, okay, I'm a disruption. Alrighty then. So as you're cleaning the bathroom, he's standing in the bathroom watching you because he's gonna fuck with you now. For real, for real.
as he should. I'm here for it.
And then he tries to seduce you while you're trying to clean up.
While you're in the bathroom? Hello?
No,
Okay, but
no.
he tries to seduce you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So then he comes behind you and starts undressing you and then tells you to clean.
Does he have a maid fantasy now? I don't know what's going on with this man.
I mean, you are a maid.
Oh, dang, you right. I forgot about that.
I mean, it is your job to clean.
Yeah, you got a point. You most definitely have a point. Can't deny that.
So then, when you're finally finished with this room, which it takes you like 30 minutes longer than usual, Ota's
Dang, what
like,
did he
I'm
do to
gonna.
his room?
I don't know. I guess he distracted you way too much.
Hmm,
That's what he claims.
what did he do?
I don't know.
I want to know.
But he tells you for your good work that he's going to give you a present. And then he just stuffs some chocolate in your mouth and then makes out with you.
So he's taking that chocolate back? That's not fair.
Yeah, yeah. So then when you have your lunch break, Erica comes up to you and she's like, "Do you do that all the time? Is that how you treat your work? By making out with your boyfriend during work hours?"
If I'm getting rewarded, yes. And if I'm butt naked, I'm not leaving that room. So it's one or the other. I walk around naked and get fired, or I stay in the room.
Okay, so then like epilogue part 2 of the epilogue, you tell Ota that about what happened,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, we can't do that anymore. You can't kiss me while working. None of that.
Girl, do you know your boyfriend?
And then so Ota makes light of you possibly losing your promotion, which he's like, you got the promotion because you worked hard. Isaac sees that, your manager sees that. Why do you care about this one girl? And he's basically just telling you you're doing too much. And then you blame Ota for making you kiss him.
Okay. Ooh. It's all your fault, Ota.
And then Ota's like, okay, if it means that much to you, I'll go talk to Isaac and then you won't get fired. You won't get demoted. But you want to be recognized for your hard work on your own merit, even though you already have been recognized for your hard work on your own merit. That's how you got the job. Yeah. You already know you're not. Everybody already knows you're not going to be demoted except you.
So you're just dumb. I mean, I know we already
Yeah.
established that, but you're really just dumb.
I mean, why would they demote you? They literally have you up there so they can keep your eye on you. Plus, all the guys, all the 5 guys know you. All the 5 guys who live in that apartment know you. Why would they have you? Why would they let you get demoted?
Exactly. For doing your job.
You're the only delusional one thinking that you're actually gonna get demoted. Even though Isaac would never let you get demoted. He wouldn't even let you quit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you tell Ota off, and then you're like, you don't see my job as important. You don't care about my job. I mean, yeah, he's a rich man who lives in a
Yeah.
penthouse,
He
and
could
you're a
literally
maid.
be he could literally be your sugar daddy if he wanted to. And just make you
Yeah,
clean his room.
you work at the hotel as a maid. Of course, he doesn't see your job as important.
Hmm.
So, of course, you're like, we need to break. We need a break. We
A
gotta
br-
break up.
Hmm. Okay then.
So, a few days in, and you already want to get back with it, but you have to stay strong. So then you go into the lounge because you're going to go clean the lounge, but you see that everybody's in there, so you're about to go dip out because you're like, oh, Ota's in here. And then Ota's like, hey, you can clean in here. Clean in here. Clean. Since you want to clean in here so bad. You want to clean so badly? Come clean. Since your job is so important to you. Basically, he just calls you out in front of everybody. And then you're like, I don't want to clean in here right now, so I'm going to leave.
Okay.
And then Isaac's like, oh, it seems like the dog is biting the hand that feeds her.
Okay then, sir.
And
Slay,
then
sir.
and then and then he's also like, oh, it looks like Ota as her master is a failure.
Hey! They're going for the jugular.
I mean, Isaac is right though. Ota is the reason why you have this penthouse job.
He is.
Even though it is because of your hard work, he is the real reason why you have this job. We cannot act like it's not because you know him and his friends.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if it wasn't for him, you would be off with that other dude, the one who was originally trying to buy you. And okay, and then so Baba tries to pull you close to like comfort you and talk about like how sad you are. And of course, Ota gets possessive, and he's basically like, no, mine.
Okay.
And Baba calls himself Big Brother Baba. He's like, tell me about all your problems. Tell Big Brother Baba about your problems.
I'm sorry, but if he called himself Big Brother Baba to my face, I could not tell him.
And then Ota's like more like Grandpa Baba.
Dang! Dang. They just go right at each other.
I love the friend group so much. If I could just get a whole, like, 18 stories of just them talking to each other, that'd be great.
I would love to read that.
Yep, and then Baba's like, well, you're cranky. Just coming at me, telling me I'm your grandpa. So then you guys leave. And actually, you don't leave just yet. Because because Ota is like, oh, leave her alone. She's just pouting over something stupid. Which makes you run out the room
You're
to
such
go
a
cry or
baby.
something. Yeah, you are. And then Ota corners you and asks you to make up. You almost apologize to him. And then, like, Ota just, like, fundamentally does not understand what is wrong. Because he's just, like, a rich man.
Makes sense.
On a fundamental level, he does not understand. Even if he did understand, it's been 10 years. He's had money for 10 years. He does not understand now. Actually, I'm pretty sure he grew up rich.
It would make sense.
I mean, it just the fact that he had a teacher who was like an artist, an actual artist, like got lots of money, a famous one. It just doesn't strike me as him being poor and then having that man as his teacher.
Yeah.
And that you can go to a school that can get renovated, that the whole school can get renovated. I'm not sure you're poor, man.
Because public schools do not get renovated.
And
They'll stay the same for thousands of years.
Yep, and the fact that you can run off to New York after a scandal at 20 years old, and I'm supposed to believe you were ever poor.
Like, please. We know better.
Like, fundamentally, you're on two different levels. You can eat. This rich man is not going to understand how you cleaning up his house is important.
Mm-hmm.
He's never going to understand that. So, he tries to pacify you and tells you to get over it. The next day, as you're cleaning one of the rooms, Baba comes out of nowhere. I don't know how he does it. I don't question it at this point, but he just kind of pops up.
I believe it.
You freak out because you thought it was going to be Ota for some reason. But Ota's a human.
Yeah.
Ota doesn't have the skill set to pop up behind you while you're cleaning the room and you're facing the doorway. I don't know how he got into the room. And your partner who you were cleaning the room with was walking out the door, so he didn't come in while she was coming out. He just ended up behind you. And then basically Baba comes to check on you. And then he reminds you that your relationship basically started with you being pet and master. And that you were seen as a dog at the start of this relationship. So there is like this fundamental misunderstanding here.
Mm-hmm.
And that Baba was like, he probably still has that mindset of seeing you as a dog.
Dang. So much for that.
So much for progress.
Mm-hmm.
But then he also tells you that Ota was the one who asked Baba to come check on you because he's worried about you.
Mm-hmm.
And you thought Baba came to flirt.
I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, it does make sense, but at the same time, it's just like, dang, you have no faith in your boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you help a little boy in the lobby. You found the mom because you remembered a handkerchief in one of the rooms that he had. And Ota was watching the whole exchange. You see him, he sees you, he walks off. And the manager comes up to you, he's like, "Oh, thanks for your help." And you're like, "It was no problem." And the manager is also like, "So Erica filed some complaints about you, but we're gonna ignore them."
Hmm.
Which
Okay.
that was an obvious thing he was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would have told Isaac the moment you got a complaint, Isaac would have been like, "No, absolutely not." And then so you go home, and Ota's waiting at the dorm for you because he wants to make up.
Oh.
The
I
funny
don't
thing is,
trust it.
you put no effort into like making up at all and trying to get him to understand you.
That's a first.
You
Ooh,
just
my
said
phone.
avoiding him was the way you were gonna make him understand.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his way of trying to make you understand. I mean, your way of trying to make him understand is to avoid you and be like, "Do you understand now?"
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't
And I'm
understand a
just
thing.
sitting here like, he's rich. You have to explain that thing that rich people heard. Not
Exactly.
only is he rich, he's also 24.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we get to epilogue 3, part 3, the ending last episode. And
Mm-hmm.
Ota hugs you, apologizes. And that's when you realize that you just want to do your best at work, like he does. And he only realized it because he saw you with the child and how happy you looked to help out the child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big whoop.
But then he also admits that he felt like you loved your job. That your job was like more important than him. And that he also said that he felt lonelier than you were. And that he couldn't just take it if you like gave him a phone call to apologize. He needed to see you in person.
Dang.
And then he promises to do anything you tell him to do to make it up to you.
So the tables have turned.
Yeah, you make Ota your pet.
Slay.
Man's eye was twitching too as you were telling him to give me your paw.
You go, girl. I'm against the MC, but in this moment, slay.
Oh, you're gonna be against the MC in like the next 5 seconds too.
She just got me on her side.
So, Ota's gonna turn this to his advantage, of course.
Of course. We love hate sex.
Ota tells you that he was sweaty running to see you and he wants to take a bath.
Okay.
But pets can't bathe themselves.
Ooh.
So you, as your mistress, need to bathe him. And of course, you don't want to bathe him because you're too embarrassed.
Oh, you prude.
And then he calls you a bad mistress because you don't want to get in the bath with him and bathe him. So then he has you finally, after he finally convinces you to go into the bathroom with him, he has you undress him, and you're just like over here like, oh my god, this is so much. I'm so embarrassed. You stop when you get to his boxers. He's like, come on.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm too embarrassed. So then he has to pin you to the wall and demonstrate for you what you should be doing.
Yeah. Go
So he
Ota.
sticks you as a demonstration. And then when you finally do get in the bath, he's not allowed to look at you. He's not allowed to look at you at all.
What was the point? What was the point?
Because you're too embarrassed.
He's already fucked you. What else is he gonna see?
He's already seen everything.
I can't. Oh my gosh.
Because this brought back flashbacks of like one of my favorite characters. And like I was reading one of I don't know if it was a special story or was like an epilogue story. But you guys go to a love hotel and like you play it was like you have to play games, fun games, and you like after getting into the sauna with him, you break down and have like a whole panic attack, and I'm just sitting here like, okay, and like
Gee.
you guys have been dating for like a year or two, and that whole storyline is based on you having a one night stand with the man. But that got you to have a mental breakdown where to the point where you just like y'all just have to it's 8 p.m. and y'all go to sleep. I was so mad because you were the one who wanted to go to that love hotel. You were the one who planned it out because you were like, I'm not sexy enough right now for this man. Stupid storyline. Hated it. But yeah, so you wash his hair and then he's like, I'm a dog, I can't wash myself, you need to wash all of me. And then, so you get too embarrassed and you're like, I can't do that. And he's like, well, you're a bad mistress. So then you decide you only manage to wash his back and then you freak out.
I'm so done with her.
So then Elta turns around and looks at you and he reminds you that he has already seen everything. You need to stop freaking out. Because you freak out when he turns around and he's like, I've seen everything. Why are you freaking out? And then he's like, maybe I need to demonstrate what you need to do. Yeah, he does not demonstrate because you start freaking out even more. So to the point where it's like an awkward vibe. And I mean, you have to tell him to stay too. It's just, I'm just here like, you ruin all the fun. So then, like the rest of the time, you guys just talk.
Can we just get rid of her? Can she just go? Because I'm done.
I was done the sequel story. I was done the first episode of the sequel.
Why?
Like,
What?
And this story is in the mature category too.
What's mature about it? Because it's not her. I've never been more disappointed in my life.
Yeah.
Everything was right there for her.
Oh my god. Like, no. Honey, you could even quit your job and just let him provide for you for the rest of your life.
You could have been sad.
Yep. So after your bath, you blow dry Otis' hair. And he's like, oh, so this is how I've been making you feel this whole time? This feels good. And then, so he's like, hey, As your dog, I want you to feed me.
Okay.
You get embarrassed. You're too embarrassed to feed him ice cream.
Ice cream! Are you too embarrassed to hold his hand at this point? I'm so done. So done.
So then he's like, okay, you can make it up to me by feeding me with your mouth. You're mortified. You're mortified by that suggestion. You're not just embarrassed. You're mortified.
Okay. Get over it. Get over it, boo. Grow up.
Yeah. Yeah, so, Ota has to take things in his own hands and actually, keep this relationship going. Oh my god. This is so sad.
It really is, because, like, Hannah's doing everything.
I mean, like, what did you expect your relationship to be? Just holding hands?
Mm-hmm. Apparently.
Like, bro, you're in the comfort of your own home.
It's not like on a stage.
So, Ota takes a bite of the ice cream and then kisses you and calls himself a good dog. And that's how that ends.
That's how that. Okay. Poor man. Poor man at this point.
That's the end of season 1 for Ota.
Yay!
When you realize Ota's not the problem.
Mm-hmm. It's saying something when one of these men is not.
I'm not the problem, you're the problem. That is it's so sad.
It really is.
He's doing all the work in this relationship and you're just kind of there.
You literally are just there. You're not doing anything.
Oh my god. Like, you can't even just, like, find a way to like her anymore.
No, there's no way to defend her. The moment I started liking her, she ruined it. I was like, you go, girl! And then she became a prude all of a sudden.
She's always been a prude.
You're not wrong. But she's been screwing him. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. She's been screwing him like it's nothing, and then she's like, oh my gosh, I can't. Girl, please.
But she's always like, no, I can't do it. I'm not wearing the right underwear. I'm not doing this. I need to take a shower first.
And I need you to leave.
I remember that being one of the excuses. I don't remember where, but it was.
That's... No. Nope, I do not support this woman.
I do not support any of her endeavors in life. No. Yeah, no. Could not be her.
Never. Everything was right there on her plate. It was right there being served to her, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, no, I could never."
Like, who's gonna find out? Who's gonna know?
Nobody's gonna know. It's not like Oda's running back to everybody, being like, "You'll never guess what I did. You'll never guess."
Oda doesn't even talk to people outside of his freaking friend group in the lounge. His only other friend is an old lady.
And he's definitely not talking to her.
Exactly. He treats that woman like his grandmother. The audacity.
Like, girl, come on. Grow up. Please grow up.
Yeah, that is one of the things that have always bothered me about these stories. Is that homegirl will not grow up.
I understand.
We're supposed to be the same age. Because, like, I think in majority of the stories, she's around 24, 25. I think there's, like, 2 where she's, like, in her 30s. But even then, she's still a prude, and I'm just here like, what is wrong with you?
That's not what we're here for.
I didn't go to the mature section to be reading about you being a prude.
Exactly.
I also did not go to the mature section to read about me being sold for $20 million, but...
here we are.
Yeah, there's only like 4 stories in the mature section. One of them has to do with you being like Cinderella, basically, but you're a reporter. One is you trying to take revenge on a hospital because your mom died from malpractice.
Okay.
Then there's Kiss by the Baddest Bitter. And then, what is the fourth story? Irresistible Mistakes. Yeah, that's the one where you have a one night stand with one of your coworkers or your boss.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
bosses. Because there's multiple bosses.
Dang.
Because you work at a, is it a writing firm? You work at a marketing firm. So
Oh.
bosses in different sections.
Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
We're not reading any of those. We're not reading that one. That one's pretty long to get through. There's like 9
It's saying
characters.
something when you say it's long.
I mean, like they're still adding.
Jeez.
Yeah, they added because there was the 5 main, and then they added 3 more, so that's already 8, and then they added another 2, so there's 10 characters already. They just keep adding new characters, and I'm just here like, please stop.
Yeah, I understand that.
There's only so many times I can fall in love with people from the same company.
Hmm.
Oh, mind you, all of these worlds are connected, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah. You want to know how I found that out?
How?
Because in one of the stories I was reading, they started mentioning the boy band from the group in the one story I read, and they're like, "Hey, they're playing at the concert this weekend," and I'm just here like, "What? Who's
Excuse
playing?
me?
What do you mean?" And then they're also like, "Let's go to Trust Bay's hotel." What? Let's go to what hotel?
Let's go where? When? Who?
And then not only that, like for like certain like activities and like when news stories come out, they'll have little like excerpt things where other characters are talking about those characters, and I'm just here like, I don't feel comfortable with this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel comfortable knowing that my husband is also best friends with my other husband.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like how I was when I read Be My Princess and then Be My Princess 2. Because those are your grandchildren. Yeah, because it goes Be My Princess, and then you live happily ever after with your prince. And then if you read the sequel stories, you're their grandchild, and
Oh.
you're still mentioned. It's not like you're not mentioned. You're still mentioned
Oh, no thank you.
because they're like grandpa married a commoner too, huh?
Excuse me?
I remember one story I was reading. I was like, yeah, I did marry your grandpa, and now I'm marrying you. Who look at that?
You gotta type. When you have a type, you have to hold it.
But yeah, I love having a connected universe. It makes me feel so great, especially when they bring you
Yay.
up
Yeah.
and you're just sitting here like, yeah, your girlfriend.
Yeah,
Oh my
great.
god. And then there's also the ones where I really, really realized this happened because like those characters from other stories were just in your story, just hanging out like as side characters.
Yeah,
This
no
happens in
thanks.
the
I'm good.
bodyguard ones and the police one, and I'm just here like, leave me alone. Go
Let me
away.
live.
You work in a different section. You work we work in the bodyguard department. You are in like secret security. What are you doing here?
Secret security.
I don't
This
know
is
what
not
to
your
tell you.
time or place.
And then the bodyguard one coming over because you guys got to work together. I'm just you're like, leave, Leave. I know you went to like Duke, Stanford, something like that, Oxford. You went to one of the British schools.
You went to one of those British schools.
You speak American. No.
You speak American. I. Oh my gosh. Sometimes the things I hear you say.
You're glad you're friends with me.
Yay!
You speak American.
You went to one of those British schools, so you speak American.
No, because that's always like as someone who speaks English, when they always mention this character is like wowing me with their English, I'm just here like no, no,
No,
go away.
leave me alone.
I cannot stand it. Because that's how you tell that their character is intelligent. They speak English.
Wow.
I mean, I guess speaking English is hard.
It's confusing to say the least. And that's coming from a native English speaker who can't speak any other languages fluently.
Neither
Well,
can I.
that doesn't count.
But I can read other language fluently.
Reading is way easier. I can read French like it's nothing. You ask me to translate it, though. Good luck.
No. I can read, I can write, I can read and write.
Mm-hmm. I can read and respond. But I'm lucky if I'm able to respond properly. Yeah, most of the time there's a minor slip up, but
I can understand the gist of what's going on when you read it to me. When I read it.
Mm-hmm.
If you speak it, no. If you want me to speak, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
And then I gotta sit here and have these characters tell me I can speak fluent English. Well, fuck you.
I love that that's your response.
And then like season 2 is like always them going to a new country. And I'm like, why? How do you afford this? You work on a police salary. And then I realize I'm American.
Yeah, nobody gets paid enough here.
Like, how are you getting transferred to the New York division when you live in Japan?
Wait, what?
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't even try to understand it at this point. I'm just here like, y'all are rich, so I guess it makes sense. Somehow y'all are all rich.
That's the conclusion. That's the consensus. Rich.
Even though you tell me you're poor, you're rich.
That's the only explanation left.
Like, some of these characters be telling me they're poor, but then they still pull out like 50 grand, and I'm just here like, where did this money come from then?
They're poor, but they live in penthouses.
No. The logic is not logicking.
It never does.
You can't sell the dream if you're poor.
Nope. I guess not.
And then I'm just sitting here like, there's so many back alley doctors, but none of you. When do you do your job? Because like one of the first people I think of when I'm like, when do you do your job is Mamoru, because he's sitting here living in the penthouse, but he's a detective.
And he's always there. Always.
Exactly. Like, I understand Isaac always being there. He owns a place.
Yeah, that's his literal livelihood right there.
But what are you doing here? Baba, he doesn't have a real job because he's a thief. So it's understandable why he's like either there all the time or not there at all. And even then, he's just like roaming around the whole hotel, doing whatever he pleases. Or, when do you do your job?
I don't know what goes through people's minds when they write stuff like this, because they're like, yeah, they all have these very demanding jobs. But they never work. But they still get paid enough to be rich.
I mean, I guess Soru makes sense as a mafia member you do go to his base sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, all his coworkers just come to him.
Mm-hmm. Even though he's just a member?
He's the boss. Sora's the boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the
You
big
said
man in
mafia
charge.
member, so okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's
Yes.
Fedora guy.
Fedora guy is
I
Baba.
don't know why I associate Fedora with mafia, but
Italian mafia.
yeah, makes sense.
He's
Yeah.
not Italian
Dang.
technically. He's Chinese, but technically he's not Chinese because, you know, people from Hong Kong don't consider themselves Chinese, but
Okay.
China considers them Chinese. It's very complicated.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah,
Taiwan.
I was about to say I don't even know what Taiwan has going on, so I'm gonna just be like, yeah, okay, got you.
Taiwan's fighting for independence.
Oh, good for
So
them.
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
guess.
I don't know. I don't know. I barely pay attention to what goes on here in America, so
Yeah.
well, Ota is his sequel's done, so yay.
Ontosaurus! Woohoo!
Woo! Well, have fun. Yay.
Alright.
Well, I'll text you.
Alright.
Alright, bye.